BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Love my client, like getting up for a 5 a.m. client, super easy, super worthwhile. And like traffic to get in for a 5 a.m. client, super easy. I would take it over a 7 a.m. client any day.
Yeah.
But waking up at 3:45, not my favorite thing to do.
No, I would hate that. That's the big problem that I'm having actually right now that I keep having with my job. It's a 7 a.m. job, but I have to get up at 4 in the morning because it's a 60-mile drive.
Ooh, yikes.
Well, it ends up only being like an hour and 15 minutes because traffic just moves like that down here. But still, it's a long time there. A lot of drive, a lot of miles.
That's a lot of miles.
So I'd like to get something closer because also it'd give me more time to do stuff here. Like
Right.
try to, because that's what problem I have. Like I'm tired as hell right now because I've been trying to get my workouts in and do everything else, but getting home late plus all the other stuff I have to do at home. And then I end
Mm-hmm.
up like last night, I think I went to bed at midnight.
Oh, yikes. No, thank you.
Yeah. So, and then had to be up at 4:30 so that I could go. And then it's like, yeah.
No, you
So
need sleep. You need sleep.
I know. Which is, one thing on this episode, that's one of the reasons why we want to do this special episode. This is one of the ones that what we're gonna do is basically Megan's gonna pick apart my wonderful like workout methods that aren't planned and aren't anything. So, and it's
Well,
really this is kind of one of those things I think what this is gonna be. It's gonna be like if you it's gonna be an example of if you went to Megan and said, "Hey, I need help." This would be the conversation that you guys would probably have. And sometimes you hear things you don't want to hear because you need to.
yeah. And hey, I can add in what I'm dealing with as a coach
Hmm.
for clients because, there are times where I want to beat my head against a wall. And there's this fine line between how much can I say of like, hey, you're not doing things right, and like, oh, good job. I'm happy you got out and did it today. So
Yeah.
we
And,
can
and there
go
is.
over both sides of it.
Yeah, and there's a huge fine line there where a lot of people miss that, where it's that, oh, hey, great job, but it's like, okay, great job, but what you're doing is counterproductive.
Or like, hey, great job, but like it's not enough.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you're doing too much.
Hmm.
And I can give anecdotes on that too, because I have clients or people that occasionally pay me for fitness advice that no joke, one time not too long ago, bless their heart, I love them to death. I have some really great clients, but one of them said, Megan, I need your help. I need to add in things for, insert problem here.
Hmm.
And I said, okay, what are you doing? And they said, I don't want to tell you because if I tell you, you're going to make me stop doing it. And it's like, well, yeah, that's a big sign of like there's a problem in your training and we need to fix it and you're doing too much.
And
But
now that they told you that, they want you to add more to it.
yeah. And it's like train smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
No.
You come to me because you don't know. You got to trust me to tell you, hey, what you're doing is wrong. And I know you don't know what you don't know, but let me tell you. So now you know.
Yeah. Well, and I think the big problem we run into is it's one of those things, and I see it all the time because, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everything else, you have all these people that are like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do to lose weight, and this is what you're supposed to do when you lift weights, and this is what you're supposed to do to exercise. And it's like, cool, that might work for them, maybe, but most of these people maybe have taken like a 4-hour class on training where you have people that have actually have like master's degrees and stuff like that like I don't know. Am I going to listen to the person that's on Facebook telling me, "Hey, do this," and has probably never taken a class in their life, or the person who has a master's degree in
Ooh, okay.
that?
Okay. So I just, we're going to dive in on what you're doing right and wrong, but I just need to tell this story because it is kind of comical. And again, bless their heart. Um, I have the world's either greatest or worst online dating history, track record, stories, the works. So I, for some reason, last weekend, somebody messaged me something on a dating app, and I was like, you're asking about music. Okay, I'll bite. We started talking about music. I kind of probably snapped at him and said, uh, you say you like punk rock, but then you don't know a single thing about punk rock. So he deviated to fitness and was like, I had a trainer that I loved, and then they moved, and I got a new trainer, and I don't think they know what they're doing. So I would much rather find a new personal trainer than go on 0 to 1 bad dates. This was on like Saturday. Literally after we wrapped our last episode, like this guy messaged me and I'm like, okay, great, awesome.
Mhm.
I like turned on a movie and like he started talking to me about fitness. Within an hour, I had him scheduled for Monday night. He came in for his initial assessment. Poor guy. Like, I understand why he said 0 to 1 dates. He couldn't look me in the eye as I'm like asking him these questions. Like, oh, like my heart goes out to him. And I start evaluating him, and it's like, what have you been doing? Your shoulders are a mess. Your thoracic spine is a mess. Your hips are a mess. Your ankles are a mess. And I go through all of this stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, we have to do so much work on your form, your mobility, your stability. And he's like, well, I have 5 more sessions left with my trainer that I see once a week. So let me get through these 5 sessions with my trainer. And the people, the studio that I work at, it's 2 guys that own it, and then I work out of it. They
Mhm.
ask, oh, how did it go? And I said, well, he says he's going to come in after he's done with these last sessions with his current trainer. But looking at his biomechanics, what the hell is this trainer doing with him? Because literally nothing is working properly on his body.
Yeah.
And, he just had surgery for an injury. I'm not going to disclose his injury. And, he didn't rehab that. But like, if he's been seeing a trainer regularly and he just had surgery, like, it's easy to correlate, like, oh, maybe something in training caused this injury. And it's like, what the hell is this trainer doing? And one of the owners, he just makes this gesture of texting. It's like he's just sitting texting. And my client at the time turns to me and she says, Megan, there are really some terrible trainers in this world. She
Mhm.
said, unfortunately, most clients just don't know what to look for and they don't realize they have a bad trainer. I said, unfortunately, yeah. There are always going to be those people who are sick of their 9 to 5, or, they really like fitness and they have a couple extra hours after their desk job. So might as well pick up a couple bucks here and there by training
Yeah.
some clients. And they take a very quick certification and they just regurgitate workouts.
And
Remember, anybody on Instagram, social media, there's a very good possibility they are not writing their workouts. They have a coach.
mhm.
They are telling you to do what their coach is telling them to do. There are some really great people on social
Oh
media
yeah.
as well who don't necessarily. But hey, I have a coach. I have a running coach.
Mhm.
My running coach has a running coach. You know, Majority of the fitness professionals know they need somebody else to program for them because it's an unbiased eye. We all have things we don't like to do.
Mhm.
We're not going to do them unless somebody else tells us to do them. I just got done with a sprint workout. I was coughing for an hour straight. My lungs were burning. I didn't want to do that. I put it off as long as possible, blaming it on the weather. But in all reality, I just didn't want to do it. I
Yeah.
did it because my coach told me to do it.
And
Okay,
that's
that's my rant.
no, and I completely agree because I've seen all of it. I've seen, in the time that I've been doing this, I've met the coaches that are like, oh, hey, yeah, you need to do this, 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 and this. Like, how do you know that? You haven't asked me a question about my body yet and about my injuries and my limitations or anything like that. And then I've had coaches where before they even gave me anything, okay, where do you have injuries? Where is this hurt? What hurts? What are your past injuries? What surgeries and all this stuff? Like they ask a bunch of weird medical questions. You're like, what? But then they coach. When they go to coach, it's like, okay, because of this injury, we need to do this and this. We need to modify this a little bit here to do this. And you're like, oh, okay, they're actually going to work to my body, and me, and that's a good coach. And most of the ones that I've seen that have that either have the degrees, have gone to school, or come from a medical background of some sort.
It, completely. It's not just about, do you know exercises? We all know exercises. We
Mhm.
got the internet. But it's about understanding the biomechanics, understanding the individual person, their goals, their health history, their needs. You know,
Exactly.
I can sit here and say, yeah, we all need a squat. We all need thoracic mobility. We all need hip mobility. We all need ankle mobility. We all need to deadlift. We all need to do pull-ups. But like, I'm not going to know where to start with any single person unless I take a look at them and say,
Mhm.
oh, well, we can't front squat because you have no wrist mobility, no shoulder mobility. You have no core stability, or because of, your hip health, I can't load up your spine with a barbell, or, insert whatever here.
Mhm.
This past weekend, Sunday morning, I woke up to a text message. And again, love my clients. This is the same guy that was like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing because I don't want you to change anything. He texted me and was like, Megan, I'm starting to get serious calf pain when I'm running. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about it. He also has had injuries that he's working through. Said, what do your shoes look like? And he said, no, it's not the shoes. I run in orthotics. Said, what? Pump the brakes. Since when do you run in orthotics? I've been training you for years. Why is this the first time hearing about orthotics? You're in zero drop shoes. Why do you need orthotics? We do things specifically for your arches and your ankles. Why are you in orthotics? Oh, well, my physical therapist for my last surgery told me that I should be in orthotics, and we're continuing to progress into higher orthotics. Like, what? Who is saying this? And then I'm asking him all these questions, and again, trying to get him to around this idea of like, hey, orthotics are like putting a band-aid on a break. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's going to stop the bleeding, but eventually it's not going to do much else. Or, you know, if we are if we have this big thick cushion in your arch, but we're also training your arch, at what point are we overcorrecting the problem and making it worse on the other end of the spectrum? So I'm asking him all these questions, and he's like, God, you're asking too many questions. Why are you doing this? I'm like, well, just in the event that you decide you're not going to get out of orthotics, which now that you're in the orthotics, we have to talk about how to ease out of the orthotics properly so you don't also get injuries.
Mhm.
But, you know, I need to find out what other things are going on so we know exactly. And then I said, okay, I also need you to send me videos of this and this. And he's like, I can take a video of me running, tomorrow. I said, I don't just need a video of you running. You're getting the pain when you're deeper into your run. I need a video of you when you start running, but then also 5 miles into your run to see where that biomechanical breakdown is happening.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you just go into Marathon Sports, and again, I'm in Boston, that's our running company. If you go into Marathon Sports or Heartbreak Hill Running, where they're putting you on a treadmill, putting you outside and saying, let me see your running gait to check out your shoes, they're only seeing you not even warm
Yeah.
at the beginning of a warm up, fresh, cold, whatever else.
Mhm.
If you're having injuries, a good coach wants to know, okay, when is it happening? What are you doing when you find out that it's happening? What kind of terrain are you on when it happens?
Mhm.
Are there any other aches and pains in the body? When I coach my online clients, particularly when they're going into ultra running. I have them run a long run and I say, give me as much detail as you can. The more detail, the better. I want to know, what shoes you were in, when you stopped to eat, what you ate, what you're drinking, if you stopped to go to the bathroom, if, what the terrain looks like, if you get any aches and pains, when do those aches and pains come on? What do you do to help alleviate them? And I want to know every little thing because the second they get out onto that course, I want to make sure they know what to expect and how to deal with it so it doesn't derail them.
Yeah. Which, and that's the
But
thing is, I mean, a good coach will ask you a lot of questions. And that's where I've seen a lot of the like, okay, here's your workout. Here's next week's workout. Here's the next week's workout. It's like, yeah, but you didn't ask me how the last one felt. You didn't ask me about how my body felt afterwards. You didn't ask me if I had pains. You didn't ask me if I had any of this. And those are questions that a coach, like you were just saying, I need to know all of this so that you can program next week. You're not just
yeah,
going to throw a cookie cutter at him. It's like, okay, you're having an issue now where this calf's bothering you at this point. So we need to adjust your training to deal with that.
yeah,
That's a
I'll
good coach.
say, talk to that client today about the orthotics, and he said, Megan, you were right. I took the orthotics out and I went for a 2 mile run today. Didn't have any pain. Said he sent me some videos. I said, guess what? Since the last time you sent me running videos, when you were, you know, comfortable in zero drop shoes, you were midfoot striking. Now, the videos that you sent me today, you're back to heel striking.
Yeah.
Said nobody heel strikes in zero drop shoes unless there are modifications that are now forcing them to heel strike, and those orthotics, because they were boosting up that arch and that heel a little bit more. They were pulling him back into his heel, putting more pressure on the calves.
Yeah. And that's one thing too, because I mean, me, I mean, it's been like 7 years now when I basically broke all five metatarsals in my left foot.
Yeah.
And after that happened, I gained a lot of weight, had a lot of issues. And when I first started running, a lot of people don't know this, I wore orthotics.
Mm-hmm.
And I had crazy, like, shin splints and calf pain. And then one day, just randomly, I got a new pair of shoes, forgot to put in the orthotics, went running, and I'm like, where's the pain? And realized really quickly the orthotics were actually doing worse for me than just running. So, and that's when I just said, nope, we're done. We're not going to use them anymore because I was having major like hip issues, stuff like that. But once I took the orthotics out, my body, because the only time I wore the orthotics was when I ran.
Did you watch the Tough Mudder in Saudi Arabia, that footage, that coverage at all?
No.
Okay. Well, long story short, Saudi Arabia was in the sand from what it looked like. That coverage was terrible. I don't blame them. Why, I know there were issues, blah, 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 whatever else. But Nicole Miracle is making her comeback from her ACL tear. It took her a good amount of time. She took the time to really strengthen her knee to make sure she felt confident. She just ran 50 miles for the first time ever. She wasn't out
Nice.
there rocking a brace. She had just torn her ACL. She was back in sand, which was the culprit for her tearing her ACL. Why is she not wearing a brace?
Because she rehabbed.
She rehabbed it. She doesn't need it. She's no longer injured. Bracing, ankle taping, orthotics, they are there to treat the symptoms, but they can overcorrect. If you are strength training properly, if you are training your body properly, you should not need any other interventions to stop your body. I used to be, one of those people that would tape my ankles for races. I would I would sprain my ankle once a month for an entire year. And it was because I was taping, my ankles would go to roll. And because of the tape was so stiff and didn't allow any mobility, when my ankle went to roll, the tape would rip and I would sprain my ankle so much worse because I wasn't
Hmm.
allowing my body to adapt and adjust.
Yeah.
My
I wore
client,
I was saying I wore knee braces for a long time, and now I will wear knee sleeves when I do like Spartans and obstacle course races, not to stabilize my knee, just so that I don't scrape them up when I have to crawl under things.
right, exactly. I mean, you with the orthotics, my client with the orthotics, when you're doing your proper training, you're strengthening your feet, your ankles, the arches, like whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish, then those orthotics are realistically working in addition to what you're strengthening. And it's not like, oh, comfort. If you, I literally just changed my pillows. I spent the week after I changed my pillows to really nice pillows with horrendous neck pain because your body has to adapt.
Hmm.
You are giving your body something so much greater. My neck, my shoulders, they are used to really crappy pillows.
Hmm.
I had to adapt to these much nicer pillows. You're strength training your feet, your ankles. You go put orthotics on and you're overcorrecting to the point where you're going to have issues again because your body's like, hey, we're good. Oh, now we're really good.
Yeah.
And it's putting stress on a totally different part of the foot, the ankle, and throwing things completely out of whack.
And that's one thing that I found was when I really started running again. Before I did that, I wore knee braces constantly, everything else. And then all of a sudden, it's like I just stopped wearing them. And I'm like, my knees actually feel better because, like you said, it's one of those things. My knees got so used to having that extra protection and not having to do the work. And I wasn't building the muscles around them like I should. But the second I took those off and stopped wearing them, now all of a sudden, I have to have that muscle to strengthen and support my knee, which is what you need. And that's what rehab
Mhm.
is. Wearing the braces is because you don't have that strength. You build the strength so you don't need the brace.
Unless you have gone through surgical
Yes.
interventions that are specific for limiting joint mobility.
Yeah,
Any
exactly.
kind of bracing, all that kind of stuff, it is only to help maintain that intervention
Hmm.
or to maintain that healing. It is to treat the symptoms. Once you are actively healing, strengthening, your body is designed to strengthen, to correct itself, to get
Yes.
back to where it's supposed to go. The interventions, they are only to aid in the healing process, not to prevent re-injury.
Yeah, exactly. And most people didn't, myself included, would wear them as a prevention from getting another injury. And you're like, well, that's not what they're for, and now I understand that that's not what they're for. Do I have a bunch of knee sleeves? Yeah, still, because like I said, when I do OCRs, I wear the knee sleeves to protect my knees when I crawl. Other than that, that's the only thing they're there for. I got rid of all the ones that had because I had the ones that had the, support on the side,
Yeah.
all that. And I'm like, nope. Now I just want the ones that are going to be protect my knees when I'm crawling.
Hey, I keep ankle tape, ace wraps, all that stuff in my bin just in case
Hmm.
I roll my ankle and I have to go and throw something on. But I guarantee you it's more than likely just like a stretchy little wrap job
Hmm.
than a full-on ankle taping that's going to hold my ankle in place. I don't
Yeah.
need it. Nobody needs
No.
it.
No, it's just to help you because you had an injury or, possible whatever, you strained it a little bit and you need to continue the race. So you need to give it a little bit of help while it heals until you're done.
Yeah,
And then you're going to strengthen it afterwards and rehab it.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Fun
all right.
tangents. Okay, tell me
Yeah.
about your workouts.
My workouts, we've talked about I'm horrible about writing down how I feel afterwards and all that kind of stuff. What I've been doing is because like we just talked about, my night times after work, because it takes me so long to get to work, doing stuff like this, stuff like that, I don't have a lot of time. So I do just kind of a little bit of cardio on the my VR. It's just really a
Hmm.
fun game. It's hit workouts on the VR, going fast, moving, squats, stuff like that. I'll throw on like, arm weights, just to, the wrist rates, just to give a little bit extra to it. Actually, the other day I did it with wearing my vest. So with like
Okay.
20 pounds in it, just to give it a little bit extra to it. And then I'll try and get twice a week, at least a 5K in after work, either on the treadmill or I'll go outside if it's light enough, which it's not, but or I have the trainer and I'll try to get 6 to 10 miles on the trainer, sometimes a little bit more, depends on how much time I have. And then on the weekends, I'll up that. I've been doing with the group that I meet up with. When do we do stuff? We do the rucking, but I'll do that as a supplement. I try and
Mhm.
just do that. That's something extra to do with my friends and have fun. And then I'll try and get a longer run in, 10-ish miles or more, and then try and get like 25-ish mile bike ride in.
Mhm.
And then I also swim pretty much during the week at about a 20 to 25 minute swim every day, Monday through Friday. On my
Okay.
so that's kind of what I've been doing. And like I said, the VR, I do the weird stuff on the VR, and then I do like, yeah, it's just basically get my cardio up and my heart rate going.
Okay. Where's your heart rate then?
When I'm on the VR, usually between about 120 and 130.
Do you know where your zones are?
Mm, Trying to think. I do if I'm looking at my watch when it's running. Um, it's um zone 3 for me is I think I'm according to my watch like between 125 and like 135. And zone
Okay.
2 is like 110 to like 125, somewhere in there.
And where is your zone 4?
Zone 4 is like probably 140 and above.
And where's your zone 5?
Oh, sorry. Zone 4 is 140 to 150. Zone 5 is 150 and above.
Okay. How often are you in zone 5?
When I'm on the bike and when I'm running, probably 30 to 40% of the run or the
Okay.
bike.
Um, and how do you plan those runs out? Or what do those
Um,
runs look like?
Usually for the runs, what I do is I think it's I have a my headphones on and I have a app on my phone, so I do intervals. So I'll run 2 minutes, push hard for 2 minutes, try and get my heart rate up into the 140, 150, sometimes even up into 160 in that range for about 2 minutes, and then it'll you know tell me when 2 minutes is up. I'll drop down, try and get it down into zone 2, right around 115 to 130, somewhere in there for about a minute, and then it'll kick off again, and then I'll jump it back up.
How do you decide if you're gonna only go to zone 4 or if you're gonna go push to zone 5?
It just
Okay.
depends on how I hit. I mean, it really a lot of depends on my lungs. If I'm pushing to 140 and I'm doing okay and I'm feeling good, I'll keep pushing to 150. But if I start having breathing issues, I'll drop back down to down to zone 4.
Do you know the difference between like the zone 2 training, zone 4 training, zone 5 training?
No, really, no. That's part of the thing. It's like we've said, I don't know what I don't know. So, but that's when I
Yeah.
lost the weight before. This was the way I'd figured out worked for me. And that's kind of, and that's what we do. We kind of go back to what we know. And that's what I worked when I was running. It was that intervals. I started off with intervals because I ran the same track every day. And I didn't, instead of time, I picked distances.
Okay. Do
And
you want the explanation in relation to improving your performance or improving like your weight and like
performance. I mean,
performance?
if I get
I
the
mean,
performance, I
it
feel the
all,
performance and the weight will kind of follow eventually.
well, it all does work together.
Hmm.
But, some people are like, hey, this is how I lost weight, so I'm going to keep doing it. Or like, this is what society tries to tell me I should do. And I'm here like, let's debunk this. But if we're talking about more performance,
Yeah.
then let's talk about it as a performance standard. Have you heard of the 80/20 rule?
No.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different like running principles and whatever else. The 80-20 rule pretty much says you should keep 80% of your runs in a low heart rate zone. And then the other 20% should be zone 4, zone 5. I don't touch zone 3. I don't want to touch zone 3. If you look at your Garmin, and I mean, I always relate it to my Garmin because I have the Phoenix. It lays it out as low aerobic, high aerobic, anaerobic.
Mm-hmm.
Low aerobic is zone 1, zone 2. High aerobic is zone 3, zone 4, zone a little bit of zone 5, but then depending on how your intervals are set up in zone 5, that's also anaerobic, which means without oxygen. So, um, if you are only eating celery during the day, you're really never going to overeat, right?
Yeah.
If you go and I'm going to admit, before we jumped on, I was binging Bravo. I pressed pause. I am now looking at an Arby's sandwich on the TV behind my computer because it paused it, and that was the ad that came up. If you go to Arby's, which we don't have Arby's in Massachusetts, thank the Lord. If we were to go to Arby's every single day for every single meal, you would meet your caloric needs very quick and then go way past it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would probably gain more weight and your health would start to deteriorate.
Yeah.
Low aerobic, only eating celery, not going to really overeat. You can keep piling low aerobic, low aerobic, low aerobic. This is our conversation pace. Nice base building, get comfortable in a little bit of a jog. You know, you might not ever meet your caloric needs. So like, yeah, you can eat more and more and more. But eventually, like you're only going to get so fast. But again, you can gradually see speed coming on. Now, if you go zone 3, what we call our junk miles, just a little bit out of zone 2, but not quite in zone 4, zone 5. This would be like, hey, I'm eating Arby's fried chicken. Fried chicken's probably not as bad as the
Not
burgers
as bad. Yeah.
and the French fries. You know, it's not the worst, but it's still not great. And I don't know, maybe fried chicken's the wrong one. Maybe it was grilled chicken. Who cares? I don't eat Arby's.
Yeah.
But probably not the worst. Definitely not the best. You are still going to see that deterioration if you're only eating that Arby's. So if you go zone 3 and then zone 4, zone 5, and you're piling all that, you're meeting your caloric needs and then some, and health is deteriorating. So the people that are like, I can't get into conversation pace, I can't hold zone 2. Well, there's a reason we want you to hold zone 2, because now you are pushing over training and you are pushing to potentially injure yourself. Your performance is deteriorating. And I have to have this conversation with a couple clients recently. So, and then you have anaerobic, and with anaerobic, this is like intervals. So all of the people that love the Metcons, love the high intensity work. You know, you spike your heart rate, you drop back down, spike it, drop back down. Oh, the heart rate's never getting stable, so it's always guessing what to do. Well, it's good, but it's not great either. You want a healthy mix, you know? You want that cheat meal. I don't care if you go to Arby's once a week. That's fine, but I want you eating more celery than, you know, getting the Arby's. I want that, you know, variation. So
Yeah.
when you go zone 4, zone 5 for your running, zone 5, again, it's going to be that spiking, dropping, spiking, dropping. You're going to get high aerobic and anaerobic together. You're training your body's ability to recover. For you particularly, you want your body's ability to recover because you're going to be doing a lot of different disciplines.
Yeah.
But you are also learning how to operate without oxygen because you're going to be swimming. And, you know, that is a big part of swimming, is how long can you hold your breath and synchronizing that and feeling that urgency of, oh my gosh, I'm not getting a full breath right now. And how can I improve my swimming if I am feeling like I'm not getting as much oxygen or whatever else? But then, so zone 4 and zone 5 are going to be your better high aerobic. I'm not going to relate it to food because whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can say Chipotle because at least they have natural ingredients. Who cares?
Yeah.
But zone 4 is going to be your comfortable, uncomfortable pace. This is where you're pushing like just below a race pace, just below a race heart rate. It is forcing you to really push that speed, push that heart rate, but being like, I can go fast and still breathe. Don't ask me to say anything to you because I have to focus all my oxygen on actually breathing and running and not on conversation.
Yeah.
And then zone 5 again, spiking, dropping, spiking, dropping. So your breathing is more deliberate. So if you're going to go high aerobic, I want you putting in that quality high aerobic. So when you say, oh, well, I'm going to do these intervals and I'm going to go, I haven't decided if it's zone 4 or zone 5. I want you to put a little bit more of, a focus on that. Are you going anaerobic? Are you forcing your body to spike and then drop? Or are you trying to build your body's ability to sustain a comfortable uncomfortable for X amount of time? So when you're running, you can stay running and be like, this kind of sucks, but I can keep going.
Yeah.
So in relation to nutrition, and I'm not going to talk about Arby's now, our body uses different substrates based on our low aerobic and high aerobic. So low aerobic is all our fat burning zone. So you get on the elliptical and it says you're in the fat burning, or you want to go to your cardio. Cardio is more carb.
Mhm.
So when you're in your zone 2, you're here burning all your fat. Zone 3, 4, 5, you're burning more carbs. And there's no perfect science. It's not like, oh my gosh, we're one beat above our zone 2. We're now burning carbs. No, there's like a little trickle and
Yeah.
trying to, your body is burning a little bit of fats while it's burning carbs, whatever else. The zone 5 is where you're going fat, carb, fat, carb, fat, carb. And with that, because your body is not figuring out how to strictly burn carbs, it starts to crave more carbs because it's like, oh, well, majority of the exercise you're doing are in carbs. So you want carbs now. And that's where people get like blood sugar problems and all that kind of stuff. You get the cravings because they're doing too much metabolic conditioning, too much interval work, and they're not training their body how to sustain the fats. I want that anaerobic fat, carb, fat, carb, fat, carb. So your body can become more efficient in the transition from fats to carbs. Because in a perfect world, and when you're out there on the Ironman, you're going to be going for 6-ish hours and your body's going to be like, I can keep going because you're giving me the carbs I need, but also I can still work off of your fat stores because damn it, you trained me to work off of both.
Makes sense. So I should
Yeah.
stay more in the 5 then.
No, not just 5.
But 4 and 5, and then 2 as in the fat burn.
So I want you in the zone 2 for 80%. I want one run you do a week. So if you say you have 4, you're probably more of like a 5-6 day cardio, right?
Yeah.
So I would say if you're running, give me 2 long runs, zone 2 conversation pace. You can make it a bike, whatever, I don't care. But 80% of your time on feet or miles or the time you're doing cardio, I want that conversation zone 2. Then I want 1 comfortable, uncomfortable, because you know what? You're going to get out onto that Ironman. You're going to get running. And if you haven't trained your body to run at a higher heart rate, if you've only trained it to like run 2 minutes, walk one, then guess what you're going to do on that Ironman? You're going to run two, walk one. Your heart rate's going to spike and drop, spike and drop, spike and drop. And then you're not getting your nutrients as efficiently because they're not learning to stabilize.
Yeah.
So I want one in the higher zone 4 where you're sustaining, and then I want one spike and drop, spike and drop, spike and drop in that zone 5. So then you can kind of train literally everything. So you are getting that energy turnover, but then you are learning that exertion level. I will be the first to admit I was run two, walk one for as long as I could up until I got a running coach, because like the thought of running miles at a time, miserable,
Yeah.
but I can run for 2 minutes. That is okay.
Mhm.
I can hold on for 2 minutes. You know how amazing it is now to look and be like, I have a 20-minute tempo interval in zone 4. This is going to be easy. It sucks, but like here I am holding a heart rate at 170 beats per minute for 20 minutes straight. And my pacing is getting a lot faster. And when I'm out there on the race, I mean, I finished World's Toughest Mudder. I had, officially 55 miles. My watch said 70 miles. And I am running across that finish line. And had they not been like, finish line closes in 2 minutes, I would have been like, let me go again. But I knew that I couldn't get back.
Yeah.
But I was still running. No, I didn't run the entire time. I walked plenty. But it was the fact that I could say, hey, I'm coming down from Mutterhorn. I can run the remainder of this. And I want to cross this finish line looking strong.
Yeah.
It's not there's the finish line, let me hobble. I want to run this. And I could do that because I could train myself for the different heart rate zones. And then I didn't need to be looking at my heart rate during the race because I've trained my body to say, oh, okay, you're a little too comfortable right now. So you can push a little bit more. Or, oh, you're really actually out of breath right now. You don't need to walk, but you can pull back down. Just pull it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then that synchronizing my perceived exertion with my heart rate, then I can run off of perceived exertion on race day. Or, when it's frigid cold running along the harbor in Boston and I don't want to pull my hand out of my bleg mitt, I can be like, my perceived exertion is telling me that I'm at about 168 beats per minute.
Yeah.
So.
Which is good. I mean, that was one thing, like when I lost the weight before and I was running a lot, I started with the 2 and 1, 2 and 1. Eventually it went to 3 and 1 and then 4 and 1. And then eventually it was just go. You know,
Mhm.
like when I was at my best, I did a marathon in what, 4:39, which for me is amazing. But yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. And when I finished, I was still running. And that was like I think one of my favorite, like I have the video somewhere on my phone where my Amber took a video of it as I was running to the finish line. And I'm like, I did a 4 hour and 39 minute marathon and was still running at the end, which to me was great, which was funny because my goal was under 6 hours.
Wow.
So yeah.
Amazing.
So, but I need to get back there. And that's kind of the problem that I think I run into. And it becomes, for me, that's what's great about talking to you now because I've done it before, but it doesn't mean I did it right, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. That there's things that I'm not doing correctly that I need to, have someone help me. Like you said, coaches have coaches. I'm definitely not a coach, but, you know, everybody needs that help to say, hey, this is what you need to be doing, where, we just don't think about it. We get into oh, this is what I've done since high school. Well, high school was a long time ago, you know. Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I can sit here and talk about real life experiences with all of
Hmm.
this for days. Um, Saturday night, as this guy was texting me, like, hey, I'd rather have a trainer than 0 to 1 dates. I was sitting and deep diving through one of my athletes' um, metrics because she's getting ready to run an ultra in 2 weeks. And her everything about her running on her metrics is deteriorating. Her pacing is getting lower. Her heart rate, she's having a harder time controlling it. And, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, you're long running at a trail, you're getting 1,500 feet of vertical elevation. Your pacing is 17 plus minute miles, but your heart rate is up in the 150s when you shouldn't be getting more than 142. Said, there's a massive disconnect here. I think this trail is too hard for you. And she's like, no, no, I've been running it forever. I go back and it's like, okay, your tempo runs. Well, why are there times where you're like stopping or slowing down on your tempo run? Why is your zone 4 work, your average heart rate is like 1 beats per minute above where the zone 3, zone 4 threshold is? Oh, you're trying to stay closer to zone 3 in those junk miles. Okay, look at her zone 5 work. Oh, well, I'm trying to stay in tempo pace for this. Said, this isn't tempo. This is speed work. This is anaerobic. I want you pushing harder. I said, you're spending your long runs in zone 3 in your junk zone. You're spending your tempo runs just barely getting out of your zone 3 junk. And then your zone 5 work is going into your zone 4. So you're not getting anaerobic benefit. You're not getting low aerobic benefit. And you're staying in that junk zone where it's like, meh, you're eating Arby's the entire time. You're not getting any nutritional value out of it. And now your performance, instead of going up, up, up as you get to your ultra, is going down, down, down. And now, okay, what else is going on? And I was able to identify there were issues with her nutrition just off of her running a few years ago. Because I was like, why aren't you getting into zone 2? You're running 15-minute miles on the road. Why is your heart rate still in zone 3? Oh no, my diet's clean. I eat clean. I eat clean. And then I come to find out she's eating 3 Reese's peanut butter cups a day. I'm like, that's clean eating? Said, your body is still craving those like junky carbs. They're using that junky carb to fuel your run. When I was getting ready for Tough Mudder, the 2 weeks before, and I don't know if I mentioned this or not before, I think I might have, I purged my body of caffeine and added sugars. My heart rate in those 2 weeks, my running heart rate, it dropped. So when I'm usually up at like upper zone 4 during my tempo run, I was like moderate zone 4. My pacing was faster for it, while my heart rate was a little bit lower. I could sustain longer, farther. Once I got to World's Toughest Mudder, I had all this junk food because I was like, I'm going to purge added sugars. So the added sugars, when I add it back in on race day, like my body is going to love it. I'm just going to have massive sugar rush. I can go all day. My body was like, nope, think again. You haven't had sugar in 2 weeks. This is too sweet. Your stomach's upset now. And I had to fuel off of applesauce, which was great. I love applesauce. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'd prefer the benefits from cutting out all of those added sugars and fueling off of natural, carbs and fueling sources because your body can process them better. Your body responds so much better to it. So when I am training for, the fats and the carbs and all of these things, your body can utilize those better when they're much more natural. So, I do go for the natural hydration beverages. I go for the natural carbs. I choose the honey stingers over the Cliff Blocks and like I'm looking for things that are more clean eating, natural fueling sources instead of added sugars that your body has to is kind of muddy to try
Yeah.
and break down.
Yeah, I have an entire thing of honey stingers for the Iron Man.
Yeah.
No, no. I love the honey
So
stingers because they work.
so as soon as I see clients that are struggling to get to zone 2, particularly when we've been doing this for a while, I say, what are you eating?
Yeah.
If
Which
if they're sitting there eating junk foods, I have a client that she, comes in person once a week. She takes, those Cliff Blocks as she's coming in for her strength training. I said, "Why are you taking running endurance fuel for strength training?" Said, Your body doesn't need that. You're not about to use those carbohydrates
no.
for your strength training. You need proteins, healthy fats. Yeah, give me some whole wheat, whole grain carbs." And she has since changed what she's eaten coming in. I said, "Now let's talk about those Cliff Blocks." Said, "While I understand they're probably some of the cheaper race fuel, probably some of the more easily accessible race fuel, have you read the packaging?"
Oh, I'm sure it's nothing good on there. Like I said,
Nothing.
I have the stingers that I'm getting, and that's one thing is because I've got what a month right now till the Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much from here on out, like alcohol's cut. Not that, and I don't drink a lot anyway, but I did
Yep.
just go on a cruise with Jay and Silent Bob, and there was maybe a smidge of drinking.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
there was a lot of drinking. I'm not gonna lie.
I should
But,
say I don't drink. So I didn't have to cut out alcohol for World's
yeah,
Toughest Mudder because I had already cut out alcohol. But
yeah. I don't drink like I used to. I do occasionally, when I want to. Yeah, do want to say I did while I was on the cruise. I did run a 5K on the ship. So
amazing.
I found the jogging trail when we were sitting in Nassau. Instead of going off the boat, I just ran barefoot, honestly, because I didn't
Oh,
want to.
awesome.
Yeah, I didn't want to go downstairs and get my shoes. So I'm like, forget it. So I just ran the track barefoot. So,
From running in orthotics to running barefoot after
mhm.
they said that you would never be able to run again.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, in all honesty, running barefoot felt great.
Running barefoot's great for you.
Yeah, it felt awesome. And then I did get to do the next morning I did a mile walk with Ethan Suplee, so that was cool. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, so it was, that's my plan right now. I mean, alcohol is gonna go on, you know, for the next foreseeable future. Um, and just really, like you said, watch a lot of what I'm eating, cutting out all which I don't eat a lot of sugary snacks anyway. Most of my, like when I go to work, I take a lunch box with a bunch of snacks, but they're like pineapple, um,
Mm-hmm.
bananas, stuff like that, like fruits, vegetables, carrots, stuff like that. So if I do want a snack and I get that urge to snack, I have healthier snacks to eat. And then for lunch, I make wraps. It's just
Yeah.
basically, wraps because it's quick, it's easy, and a lot of times I'm going to the pool for lunch. That's why my swims are 20, 25 minutes because that's how much time I have to like get there, swim, get back to work. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
make the wraps because I can eat the wraps while I'm driving to the gym.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's like it's a matter of that's the other big thing is I got to make sure my diet's where it should be. So I have gotten a point now my resting heart rate's really about 60.
Oh, good.
So and I went to the doctor, they were a little worried because it was my heart rate was at 55, but I'm like whatever. That's about what 55, 60 is about where it sits.
Do you take any branched chain amino acids?
No. I don't take really anything. I don't take any vitamins, any like prescription meds, nothing.
I would recommend adding in some branched chain amino acids, particularly for your recovery, especially at higher endurance type of activities.
Hmm.
That's one thing that I do for ultra running. I recommend it to my ultra athletes, especially since you're going to be going for so long. Um, your body will just naturally go through this breakdown buildup of muscle. And, that's life. Like our bones are strengthened by a breakdown build back up. Our
Yeah.
muscles are strengthened strengthened by a breakdown, build back up. We need amino acids for our metabolism to keep our body just naturally running. We get amino acids from proteins, but it takes time for your body to break down the protein to get the amino acids to shuffle it into your muscles, to shuffle it into your metabolism. Your body is breaking down your muscle to get some amino acids, throw it into your metabolism. If you are supplementing branched chain amino acids, and people do it a lot for strength training, particularly for this reason, it eliminates that time to break down the protein so it can go straight into your metabolism, straight into your muscle. It replenishes the muscle quicker, so your muscle energy is higher and it
Okay.
aids in your recovery time. So when you're swimming, when you're sitting on the bike, when you're running, if you have branched chain amino acids, whether it's in your gels, in your water, or your electrolyte beverage, if you're getting some kind of branched chain amino acid, it is allowing your body a little bit more of a boost in its like muscle energy recovery. So it can go longer, farther, faster. It prolongs how long you'll need to actually go get proteins. And I'm less versed on what you're going to be eating during an Ironman, but I know ultra running, not many people are sitting here going, "Oh, let's get some protein." They're like, "Let's go get some honey stinger and, get your gels, your chews." Um, you're getting the carbs because the carbs are instant fuel, but amino acids are fuel for your muscles, at least in obstacle course racing. You need your muscle energy to be able to obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hitting fatigue in your obstacle game, you want a little more muscle energy from the amino acids to maintain that, even though you're not using your muscle quite as much when you're running. You do still use your muscles when you're running. It does fatigue. It's pulling more of that muscle energy. So then when you get on the obstacles, you're like, oh my God, my arms are dead. Well,
Yeah.
amino acids, they might not be as dead.
Hmm. I have to look at that. I'm gonna have to get some of those. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
would say, and then like I when you're going to swim or whatever else, because you do it at lunchtime,
mhm.
if you eat lunch and then go swim, have some amino acids or have a protein shake after you get out of the pool, and that's just going to continue to help build back up, you know, your muscles and everything else, give you better recovery.
Okay. I'm gonna figure out how I can get some of those. There we go.
And there are brands that have endurance specific branched chain amino acids. I just get straight branched chain amino acids, but branched chain amino acids taste terrible. Do not get unflavored BCAAs unless you know what they taste like and you're required to it. You are not going to want to drink it.
Yeah.
But Goo has their Roctane brand or their Roctane line, which is branched chain amino acids in their gels, their chews, that kind of stuff. And that's specific for elite endurance, ultra stuff. Endurelite, I think, might still have some stuff. I know they switched over their distributor and they were bought out, but they are supposed to be an endurance supplement
I have to
brand
look at those
still.
because I know the one thing I have the issue I've had with goo, and it sounds really bad, but because of like when I'm running, goo's fine if I'm just doing whatever. But when I'm running, the texture of goo
Yeah,
makes me gag. I
yeah,
can't like which is funny though because what I would do a lot was I don't know if you've heard of protein pucks. I
yep.
would keep a protein puck in my little running thing, and I could eat that when I'm running, but I couldn't eat a goo. Just makes me want to hurl.
Oh, oh,
So when I did the marathon, I actually had two protein pucks, so I could just grab them and like just eat them as I was running.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
but
I mean, always eat protein. Do
mm,
not cut down on your protein because you're taking branched chain amino acids. In this case, not like the orthotics. In this case, it's like, a leveling up.
yeah,
You're not going to overcorrect because, I mean, there are people that eat way too much protein. I don't think you're one of them.
no, I probably
You
don't
are
have
not
enough.
peeing out ketones. You're fine.
No, yeah, like I said, I
Just
probably don't
don't.
have enough. I have a protein shake every morning, but I actually dump my protein shake into my coffee.
Oh yeah, right.
That's how I flavor my coffee. And then, I try and have, you know, more protein in my diet, but I don't eat beef. I mean, I do occasionally, but it's not a big part of my diet. Usually if I have like a ground beef, it's ground chicken or ground turkey.
Okay.
So, which I know beef has a lot of protein, but it just sits in your stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like steak, but I just like once a couple times a month,
Yeah.
which I know I'm in Texas. That's like sacrilege to say that, but it's
Hey,
true.
I love steak. I haven't been eating it that often either.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just one of those like it's occasionally, but most time if I'm eating, just because it's easier on my stomach and it digests easier, it's ground chicken or ground. Like if I'm making chili, I'm making whatever, it's ground chicken, ground beef or ground, you know, turkey.
Yeah.
So no. Yeah. So
Uh,
and we've been trying really hard. I very rarely, I would say, I think what last week I was the first time in probably 3 months I got fast food.
oh
And
wow.
the only reason I did was because when we got home from the cruise, our fridge was empty and I couldn't
Hmm.
make anything in the morning for lunch. So I stopped and got like a chicken sandwich at KFC. And that was, yeah.
Okay.
But so I try and stay away from the fast food, partly too, because during COVID, I very rarely had it and started to eat really healthy. And now if I eat fast food, my stomach, the pro
Uh,
or the all the crap that they put in fast food, my stomach can't take it.
oh yeah.
So I'm like, nope, no. But hang on. Well, we're hitting that mark as
I
usual.
know. My computer was like, "Hey, you have 10% battery left," and it's
Yeah.
my charger is in the other room. So it's like, do I have to go grab my charger, or
Well,
was this enough of a
I,
breakdown for you?
I think this was a good breakdown. I think it was a good breakdown for me. And for the listeners to really hear
Yeah.
kind of like how that conversation should really go. Um,
Well, so many
and we'll talk
people
more.
like struggle with that zone two, or they
Hmm.
struggle with pushing high and getting uncomfortable. I hate sprinting. I'm guilty.
Hmm.
Um, and it's like that you have to find that even balance, but there's more than just like, hey, you really just need to like keep your heart rate low. It's like, no, the elliptical isn't lying to you. Like, yeah, a fat burning zone is great. Fat burning zone, again, celery. You're not going to get too full. Celery doesn't have very many calories. Fat burning zone, you're not burning very many calories.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little bit longer to get to where you want to go in the fat burning zone because the metabolic equivalents, the calories that you're burning, are on the lower side. But your body can burn fat that much more efficiently because you are dedicating that time. Then that cardio zone, higher, you're burning higher calories, but your body's burning more carbs there.
Yeah.
And if you're going into that zone 5 interval zone, it's great. It's teaching your body how to move from fats into carbs, back down, back up, back down, back up. But because it keeps spiking, it's teaching your body the more you're in, the high aerobic, that anaerobic, your body is going to keep craving carbs. So when society is telling you carbs are bad, carbs aren't bad.
Yeah.
The types of carbs you eat might be bad. You can overeat in carbs, particularly the types of carbs. But if you aren't teaching your body how to properly function or cycle through fats and carbs, then your body is going to continue to take these excess carbs, store them as fats, and be like, we just want more carbs. Give me more
Yeah.
carbs. Oh, I don't care about this fat that I already stored because you overate on your carbs. Give me more fat, more carbs now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's training your body.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to.
And the human body is all science. Everything is adapt and learn. Like no one person burns fats and carbs the same.
No.
So, I can sit here and recite everything out of a book, but it doesn't always apply to how your body functions 100%.
No.
It's about adapting and learning with it. So, I learn about metabolism in my physiology class. I learn about metabolism again in the nutrition class. They weren't like, hey, here's your nutrition and your physiology. Here's your physiology and your nutrition. I had to put it all together and realize, oh, this lower aerobic, not only is it doing this for your heart rate, but this is what's happening for the nutrition and your metabolism, and this is how it all works together.
Yeah.
Oh, again, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. You don't. Yeah, it's so true. And I think that's what a lot of people like try and act like they know like everything. It's like, no, you don't know what you don't know. And I mean, that's why you have, you talk to coaches, and that's why coaches have coaches, because you need to be able to build a program that matches the person. The person isn't going to adapt to the program necessarily. The program needs to adapt to the person. Because like you
Exactly.
said, people are different. And that's one of my biggest things. Like when I first started, I had like the beach bodies and did all that. And I'm like, oh, and I had major issues because it wasn't to me. And I had, of course, my foot injury and everything else. And it's like, I can't do these. It's not
Yeah.
working. And then when I got a real coach and they're like, okay, how's this feel? How's this feel? And then I do a workout. And at the end of the week, she's like, okay, you did all these workouts. How did this feel?
Yeah.
What hurts? What doesn't? Okay, let's adjust to deal with all that.
And that's what I tell my clients. Said, I love working with you. I love, giving you things specific for your body, but more than anything, I want to educate you. I want
Mhm.
you to realize what sensations you're feeling, how things are supposed to feel. So in the event that you go and do something on your own, you're on vacation and you still want to get active, you can say, oh, this doesn't feel right. What was that Megan said? If it's not feeling right, I need to do. Oh, okay, there it is. Yes. If you can't distinguish these, then you're not going to see the benefits.
Yeah.
And again, I hate sprinting. I will never sprint unless a coach tells me to sprint.
Yeah.
If you have 5 exercises that you love, you're going to keep doing those 5 exercises. You're going to recommend those 5 exercises to other people.
Yeah.
Somebody who maybe only has a 1-2 day certification, they only learn so much in that 1 to 2 days. They're only going to give you what they know. But somebody who has a more extensive background, more extensive education, experience, has been through the internships, the, extra certifications, all of that, and then adapted it into their own skill sets, they are going to be able to give you much more information and manipulate it to meet your specific needs, your specific goals. Because
Yes.
no single person needs the exact same thing. No single person's body is ever the same. Everybody responds a little bit different. It's not about what you're doing, but how it's interpreted upon your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Right on. Well, I think we'll end on that.
That's a
So
perfect place to end.
it is. As always, it's amazing talking to you.
I
Um,
can't wait to hear how the Iron Man goes.
it's gonna go amazing. I'm
It's
gonna
going to
make
go
sure it goes
amazing.
amazing.
Oh,
So
I'm so excited for you.
it's gonna go amazing. I'm trying to take it easy a little bit beforehand. This weekend's gonna be a little bit because I'm helping More Heart Than Scars and in the
Yep.
Spartan in Houston, but I'm gonna try and take it easy as much as my body, my brain will let me. And then, then it's just training for the rest of the month and then go for it.
Go for it. I'm so excited for you.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Yes. Talk soon. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.